And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. Well, it's that time of year. If you're in the middle of a divorce or separation and you have custody, or your ex has custody of the kids, and it's moving closer to the holiday time, then you have to decide who will get the kids for the holidays. Now, we brought in law expert and board certified family law attorney Charlotte Rainwater to help us out, which could be a very sticky situation during the holidays. So, Charlotte, if you have two parents and they're separated or divorced, and there's nothing in place stating who will have the kids for the holidays, how do you even approach that?
Well, if there's nothing in place in terms of the fact that there's not a court order in place, I would highly encourage everyone to try to get into a legal situation, meaning file something with the court, see if you can get the other side to get into mediation, do something so that you do have some type of a settlement agreement that you can rely on, or a court order that you can rely on. Because in order to really have a superior right to custody for either parent, there has to be an order of some sort in place.
Now, Charlotte, let's imagine there is an order and the courts have already decided, but a mom or a dad wants to change that order, saying, look, I think I deserve to have the kids this holiday season. How do you approach that? How do you deal with that? Do you have to go back in court?
Well, yes, in order to change a court order, if the parties don't have a mutual agreement to do something different than the order, then the parties would need to, one of the parties at least, would need to go back into court and see if they could get that order changed. Otherwise, you have an order in Texas that you can rely on. And typically, there will be a provision in that order that says, unless the parties mutually agree otherwise. If the parties mutually agree otherwise to do something different than is in the court order, my encouragement to them would be to make sure that they have that deviation in writing and confirmed by the other side, so that they don't run the risk of, particularly at the holiday season, being disappointed or having the children disappointed.
And if you want to, Charlotte, want to alter the agreement when it comes to having your kids for the holidays, and you want to challenge that in court, if you've already agreed to something, how likely are you to succeed if your ex has already said, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to make the changes, but you want to go into court now and say, I want this change. How successful are you looking to be in a case like that?
Well, I would say if the parties already have a possession order that is the presumptive order in the state of Texas, which is the standard possession order, I would say it would probably be pretty difficult, particularly on a temporary basis, because that's about all you could probably have done before the holidays, with us now being in November. I would say it would be a really, really difficult thing to do, because the presumption of that standard possession order being in the children's best interest is a really difficult presumption to overcome.
And I'm just thinking of extremes here. Say the parent who has a right to the kid during the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and they're typically in the same town with the ex. But what if this year they would like to take that child out of town, and the ex is like, I didn't agree to that. I wanted to see my kid after. How do you deal with something like that?
Well, normally in the context of that standard possession order, the parent who has the right to have possession of the child can take the child and travel with the child, as long as they are back in town with the child at the designated time and at the designated location for the exchange in that order, which they know in advance. And so most people will plan their travel around those times that they're going to be entitled to have the children. As long as they do that and put some forethought in it, they're going to be just fine. It's when they try to negotiate with the other parent to get extra time, or to get a day before maybe they're supposed to have the children, then it becomes a much grayer area where they really do need that other parent's agreement in order to modify that possession schedule.
Any other tips out there, Charlotte, that parents may encounter during this holiday season that you've experienced as a legal expert, and how they should handle it?
Sure. So I always tell all of my clients, the holidays are stressful for everyone. They are particularly stressful for families in change or families who have gone through divorce. The most important things that you can do is know your order, know what days you're supposed to have your kids, know what times you're supposed to pick them up, what times you're supposed to turn them back over, know where you're supposed to pick them up at and where you're supposed to turn them back over. Keep all of your communications with the other side documented, meaning do as much as possible in text or via emails so that everyone's on the same page. That way, nobody's disappointed. Nobody, there's no misunderstandings or miscommunications between the parties because it's written down and documented. And whatever you do, stay calm. Remember that your kids are there and they are watching this, and they learn not just by what we say, but they learn by what we do.
That is excellent advice from family law attorney Charlotte Rainwater, who could be found here in Houston and online. We appreciate your time today, and hopefully, families will stay happy and consistent this holiday season without all the drama. We know there will be drama, Charlotte, but hopefully, they'll keep the kids out of it. Thank you for your time here on the Factor Uncensored.
Thanks, Isaiah.